There is a kind of silence that is louder than screaming. In 1919, people still hoped the war had really ended. By 1920, that hope had turned rancid. The next 4 years did not feel like peace. They felt like the war had simply changed uniforms, from field gray and khaki to inflation, unemployment, hunger strikes, putsch attempts, border wars, and the first fascist squads beating people in alleys. This is not a story of treaties and conferences, although those come later. This is the story of the first 12 months when ordinary people, widows, amputees, orphans, unemployed veterans, bankrupt shopkeepers, grieving mothers, slowly realized that the armistice had not ended anything important. I'm your host, and this is Tale Master Legend Series. Welcome. What you're about to learn isn't just about a single event. It is about how the entire structure of Europe, centuries of alliances, rivalries, imperial ambitions, and nationalist fervor is balanced on knife's edge. One moment changed everything. In this episode, we are uncovering the hidden rivalries that divided Europe into two hostile camps and exact reasons how all these catastrophic events triggered all and sudden. Europe was not healing, it was gangrenous. This is the story of how the 1920s did not roar for most of the continent. They whimpered, then snarled. January 1920, the Treaty of Versailles officially enters into force. Germany loses 13% of territory, 10% of population, 48% of iron production, 16% of coal production, all colonies, almost all navy, air force, tanks, heavy artillery, general staff. The army is capped at 100,000 men, smaller than the police force of New York City. Britain and France begin receiving reparations in kind: coal, timber, ships, locomotives. Germany starts paying with money it does not have. The Reichsbank prints, and prints, and prints. Inflation begins slowly, then accelerates. A loaf of bread, January 1920, 1.20 marks. December 1920, 2.50 marks. December 1921, 4 marks. December 1922, 160 marks. November 1923, 200 billion marks. People carry money in suitcases, then wheelbarrows, then children use banknotes as kites and wallpaper. Middle-class savings vanish overnight. Retired civil servants who lived on pensions starve. University professors sell their libraries for food. Doctors barter services for potatoes. The psychological effect is devastating. A society that believed in order, thrift, hard work, watches all three values become meaningless. Resentment grows like mold. While Berlin burns money, Paris and London try to pretend normal life has returned. The Prince of Wales tours factories. Fashion magazines show shorter skirts and jazz records. But underneath, unemployment in Britain never falls below 11% in the early 1920s. France has 1.4 million war widows and 700,000 war orphans. Italy has 650,000 dead, a crippled economy, and returning soldiers who feel betrayed. Benito Mussolini founds the National Fascist Party in November 1921. Black shirts begin beating socialist meetings. The liberal order is already cracking. In Ireland, the Anglo-Irish Treaty is signed December 1921. 6 counties remain British. The Irish Civil War begins within months. More Irish die fighting each other 1922-1923 than died fighting Britain 1919 to 1921. October 1922, Mussolini's March to Rome. A mostly theatrical show of force, 30,000 poorly armed black shirts. King Victor Emmanuel III refuses to declare martial law. He appoints Mussolini prime minister instead. The first fascist government in Europe is born not by revolution, but by royal invitation. November 1922, Germany defaults on coal reparations. France and Belgium announce they will occupy the Ruhr coal field. January 1923, French and Belgian troops march in. German workers are ordered to passive resistance, strike, do nothing. The German government prints money to pay the strikers. Inflation becomes hyperinflation. By summer 1923, a loaf of bread costs 200 billion marks. Children play with banknotes as toys. A famous photograph shows a man wallpapering his room with money because it is cheaper than wallpaper.
The middle class is annihilated. The people who once believed in the Kaiser, then in the Republic, now believe in nothing. Adolf Hitler watches. November 8th to 9th, 1923. Beer Hall Putsch. He fails, goes to prison, writes Mein Kampf. The script for the next war is being drafted in a cell in Landsberg. Hyperinflation peaks November 1923. $1 equals 4.2 trillion marks. People burn money for heat. The Republic is on life support. Then, two stabilizations. November 1923, Rentenmark introduced, backed by land and industrial assets. A fiction, but people believe it. Hitler is arrested. The French realize occupying the Ruhr is costing more than it brings. By 1924, the Dawes Plan restructures reparations. American loans begin flowing. The economy stabilizes. But the psychological wound does not. The people who lost everything in 1923 never forgive the Republic for it. The stab-in-the-back myth hardens into common sense on the right. We were not defeated on the battlefield. We were stabbed in the back by Jews, socialists, and November criminals. That sentence is repeated in every beer hall, every veterans meeting, every nationalist pamphlet from 1920 to 1933. These were not the roaring 20s for most of Europe. They were the years of hunger, shame, inflation, unemployment, border wars, civil wars, putsch attempts, and the first fascist squads. The war had not ended. It had metastasized. The 1914 to 1918 conflict destroyed bodies and economies. The 1920 to 1923 period destroyed faith in liberal democracy, in international law, in the idea that treaties could ever be fair. By the end of 1923, Europe had been broken twice, once by artillery, once by paper money and humiliation. Both times, the wound went to the bone. 1920 to 1923 did not heal Europe. It salted the earth, and the next war was already growing in the cracks. This is just the beginning of a story. In future episodes, we'll explore the Western Front, warfare, the rise of new weapons, the strategies of great generals, and the human cost of these conflicts. If you want to understand the history that shaped the modern world, subscribe to Talemaster Legends series. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.